Welcome to the Menopause Chronicles. This is a regular conversation by Gennev where we talk about all things menopause. I am Britt Stromberg. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Gennev. And today I have an amazing guest. This is Diesta Goldsmith. Diesta is an ACE certified menopause wellness and midlife coach. She is a former bodybuilder and she is a software techie with an incredible career. This is one strong woman. Welcome, Diesta.
Well, thank you for having me, Britt. So nice to be here. Just an honor to be a part of your webcast today. And Gennev, I've known about you for a long time. Had some events with some of your top nutritionists, and it's just a great kind of full circle thing for me to be here today.
Well, we are equally honored by you. We watch what you're up to on your social channels and just really excited for this conversation. And
Me too.
as I was preparing, I was thinking about the first time that I heard the word menopause. And it occurred to me, I'm Generation X. So it occurred to me that I really hadn't ever heard that word in my lifestyle, in my context of family and friends until probably my late 40s. Of course, the word is out there, but I hadn't really had awareness of it because my mother and I didn't talk about it. And I wanted to start by hearing from you when that word first came up in your life.
That is a great question. My mother never talked to me about menopause either. I I started having like hot flashes that were just terrible. So the word that first came to my life was hot flashes. I didn't know why, didn't understand the background of hot flashes, but in my early 40s, I 41, 42, I started going through it.
Early.
And it was just all hot flashes. I didn't understand menopause. I didn't know I was in perimenopause. I didn't understand that there was help for perimenopause. And my situation was, how, some women, they have mild hot flashes. Some women are kind of, mine were like, my foot felt like I was getting dipped in hellfire.
Wow.
Several times a day, the terrible night sweats. And so finally, a girlfriend said to me, I was at Bunko, where you do the dice game and everybody's, they're eating and drinking and things like that. But my girlfriend's like, Tiesta, I just see you like fanning yourself. And I would be sweating. And she says, isn't there drugs for that? And I was like, what? I had no clue. No clue. So it was, I think I found out the hard way about perimenopause and menopause, and then finally decided to have a chat with my doctor, and she was like, "Oh yeah, let's do something about this." So it was a long journey for me.
So early 40s when it really started to kick in.
Yes, I remember being in the middle of, bodybuilding, and they wanted me to take these fat burners, and when I would take them, I would have a hot flash, and so I was trying to, get in the best shape of my life, exercising, but then just really having a hard time with these hot flashes. So for me, early 40s when I started really noticing that it was impacting my quality of life.
And how long has your journey been? Where do you know what stage you're in now?
Yes, I am post-menopausal, mama, for sure. It's been a while. I'm at the wonderful age of 62, and it's been almost. I think I finished with menopause at 48.
Okay.
And got on hormone replacement therapy, changed my life, and I'm such an advocate for it. If I would have known then that I could have stayed on it, I sure would have.
Okay.
But science has changed so much over the years.
Yeah, my same story for me too. So first of all, I want to acknowledge that you are an amazing 62-year-old and a total inspiration. Go and look up Diesta at her amazing website, Vision Wellness. Let's see, visionupwellness.com. And I'll drop that in the chat here in a minute.
Sure.
But you are an inspiration and you look incredible. So
Thank
there's
you.
that. So go back and talk a little bit more about your journey into hormone replacement therapy, because I think that is something that a lot of women have questions about. So it's helpful to hear different stories.
Yes, when I first mentioned it to like a girlfriend, she's like, "Oh, I take this over the counter supplement, which was I think Estrovan at the time." And so I went to Costco. I got this big old thing of Estrovan. I thought that that was going to change my life, and it didn't. It didn't help me at all. Now I think that the menopause products and supplements are so much better than what they used to be. I know that Gennev, you guys have different supplements to help women through menopause and different symptoms that they have. But I started out trying to do an over the counter thing. Didn't work for me. I still was suffering. And then I just kind of lost hope until I heard that there was actually prescription medication that I could take. Once I did find that out, I made my appointment with my doctor. And I think a lot of women don't have that relationship with their doctor like that they need to. Your OBGYN or a menopause specialist. I think that's why Gennev is so amazing because you guys have telemedicine. You don't have to like live in the Seattle area to get the help
Right.
that you need. But for me, when I finally went, I got on estrogen, micronized progesterone, and it had a little bit of testosterone in it. Mama, I felt so good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
felt so good. And within a week, my hot flashes had really subsided a lot. My journey was the night sweats. And I know that
Too.
if you have a high incident of uh, day sweats and even night sweats, it's a higher risk for cardiovascular disease. So you cannot play around with those hot flashes and just be like, oh, I'm going to get over it. Take action
Yeah.
because your quality of health is being impacted with the night sweats. You might just think, oh, it's a phase, I'm going to get through it, but get the help you need. If your quality of life is suffering in any way, your sleep quality, it's time to do something about it.
Yeah, yeah, that was really a similar story for me too, and it was the night sweats that were so excruciating because I wasn't sleeping, and
Right.
then when you're not sleeping and you have to go to work and you can't concentrate, you're tired, you're hungry, you're achy, what was that like for you in your career going through menopause? Because you've worked in some incredible places and environments that there's not always a lot of women around. What talk about
Right.
that?
Yes, I at my job, I still work for an aerospace company, but at the time, the guys at my job saw me suffering, and I came into work and they had given me a desk fan.
Well, that's nice.
Because they saw me, I would be peeling
Yeah.
off my jacket and then I'd be cold and I'd put it back on. And and I'd be talking to them and they'd look at me and they'd say, are you okay? Because they'd see all this sweat coming on my face. And so luckily I worked with a group of guys that, knew what I was going through and gave me a desk fan. And I think a lot of corporations, I hear about a high rate of menopausal women missing work. One, they're not sleeping. Two, they have a hot environment where the heat's too much in that, place, or else they're told that they have to wear some kind of uniform that doesn't breathe. There's not sensitivity in the workforce for menopausal women. And I think it's getting better because people are talking about it. But at the time, you have to be your own advocate and talk to your manager. If the place you're working in is unbearable and you just go in there and you just have a miserable day because you can't function, it's so important to, raise up the situation and discuss it with your management team or corporate or HR or however
Mhm.
to be able to be
Yeah.
the best you.
Were you able to do that in your company to bring that up?
In my company at the time, I wasn't, I didn't think about going to HR about, hey, can we like change the heat in here, turn it down? But I just had my fan and I just turned it on and off constantly all day. If anybody was sitting next to me, they were probably slightly irritated.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's how I got through it with my own personal fan and,
You
layering
just
clothes and we just deal, don't we,
Yeah,
Brett?
yeah, me too. Yeah, I what showed up for me more at work was the fatigue and then a lot of bloating because I hadn't dialed in my nutrition and I would eat
Yeah.
lunch and my stomach would be so distended that I would have to unbutton my pants
Oh
and just
man.
feeling so uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I was mortified. I would never have told my manager what was going on. And
Mhm.
so one of the things that we're working really hard to do is in hosting these types of conversations is get women to speak up. And we're starting to see menopause being offered as a benefit in workplaces. So, raising this issue with HR managers, with your hiring manager, the more we all talk about it, the more we're going to bring about change and get more women the services that they deserve. So that's what drew me to this company was my own personal struggle. And
Yes.
I had met Jill Angelo, our founder and CEO, in the female founder community, and so I knew about it, and I felt like I needed to start using my voice to help with this. So it's always fascinating to meet women like you who have high powered careers. You have a lot going on. You've got different activities, and through work, you had this menopause experience that seemed to have also turned into this whole other work stream for you with your coaching. So I'm just so curious, how did that come about?
Uh, um, when I was okay, cheerleader in high school, cheerleader in college. So my background was
Always a
dance
cheerleader. Once a
music, right?
cheerleader, always a cheerleader.
And I think cheerleaders just turned into aerobics instructors,
We
and
need
so
cheerleaders.
I worked in the corporate world during the day, did fitness at night, loved it. Had two kids, decided to stay home, so full time aerobics coordinator. Then I got into bodybuilding, and then did bodybuilding, and for competed in it, enjoyed it very much. I think it messed with my metabolism though, Britt. And to
Mm,
tell you the truth, trying to get down to 8% body fat and 10% body fat. And then, that's not realistic. And then if you're not told how to come out of that calorie deficit the right way, then you just spring back and you just gain a whole bunch of weight,
mm.
because you didn't do it the right way. So that's really helped me in my coaching career. But when the gyms closed down, when COVID happened, I was like, how can I still help women and be a part of their life? And then knowing what I went through in menopause, I was like, that's it. That's my niche. That's my niche,
Mm.
helping menopause women, perimenopause, go through the beautiful change
It
of life.
is.
It's a gift.
It is.
You lived long enough to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that is your mindset, that, okay, this is a gift, I need to embrace it. This is the evolution of me. I am changing into a better, stronger woman. If you have that mindset, it's going to be huge how you age, and you'll be able to age gracefully with the right mindset as you go through this transition. And help your sisters, talk to your sisters about it, your friends, so when they start going through the changes of life, they'll be educated. My experience would have been so different had somebody talked to me about, this is coming up
Mm-hmm.
in your life, this is
Mm-hmm.
the age group, the age, the time. And a lot of women go through perimenopause early, especially women of color. We go through it earlier. Our hot flashes are harder. It's longer for us. And so there's just education that needs to happen all over the planet for every woman about menopause and how to go through it gracefully and come out of it, live through it, thrive through it, and then come out stronger and better.
Yeah, I remember a few months back Oprah coming out with, I think it was an ebook or a series around menopause, and I remember her saying, here's the information that you need at when you turn 40. You need your best friends to sit you down and say, girl, this is what's coming. And and that's so true. And it does need to start at 40. I have friends that are late 30s, early 40s who really aren't very excited to talk about this because
No one is.
they're
That,
afraid.
that taboo kind of, you're
The
getting older.
taboo, it means
Yeah.
you're getting older, it's
Yes.
unknown, but that's why we're here. That's why Gennev is here to
Right.
fix that.
Right, and when you go through puberty and you start getting your period, I remember I got my period. My mother cried, "You're a woman now,"
Yeah.
I was like, "Am I dying?" But she had a terrible time going through menopause, and when I finally brought it up to her, she's like, "Oh, I had an awful time." My mother's 85. "Oh, I had an awful time." At the time, I was, in my 40s, and I was telling her what a terrible time I had, and she's like, "Oh, I had the worst time." And I was like,
Oh,
"You didn't think to tell me?"
right. Yeah.
And she got on estrogen, she said, and it made it worse. So unfortunately, she didn't have a good relationship with her doctor. So they could have, changed her prescription and made it so it would have worked for her. So she
Hmm.
just suffered through it unnecessarily.
Yeah, there's so much suffering around this, and once I had that HRT
Hmm.
epiphany, and it was because of our own chief medical officer, Dr. Rebecca Dunsmore-Sue. I had been a customer of Gennev's for 2 years. I had been working with the registered dietitian nutritionists, Stacy and Jessica, who
Yeah,
are on our
Stacey.
team, and people can
Hmm.
book appointments with them. I've been working with them for over 2 years, and they had very gently been saying to me, you could consider HRT. But my mother had breast cancer, and there was that WHI study that was done that
Right.
put out the misinformation
Yeah.
around the correlation between breast cancer and estrogen.
Yeah.
And I was scared.
Of
And
course.
so I was really hesitant, but I heard Dr. Rebecca Dunsmore-Sue speak on a podcast, and she just laid out the science and debunked that myth. And I was like, yes, sign me up. And like you said, within about a week or two, those night sweats were gone. The brain fog took a little bit longer, but the mood swings were noticeable. I used to have rages,
Oh,
just like I wanted to kill my
yes.
husband.
Yes.
Just these incredible wide swinging emotions, and those went away very quickly too with
Yes, I
HRT.
I had that, but I didn't know that's what it was from. I just thought that
Yeah,
the
I didn't
hot
either.
flashes were the only thing that women experience from menopause. I didn't know there was like 40 other symptoms that you could be going through, and rage was one for me. I just was
Yeah.
short-tempered, but especially when you have the decline in your hormones right now, that things come up and you're not as good as dealing with those things. Your cortisol levels go up higher, as a result of your adrenal glands changing too. So all that, HRT or just being more mindful. They have all the other, ashwagandha and shisandra. There's all those other herbs that can help you as well. You just have to kind of figure out what your cocktail is.
Right.
If you're not going to do HRT, you need to figure out what
Yeah.
your adaptogens, your herbs and things like that,
Yeah.
what your cocktail is for you, because it might take a little bit of time, but if you stay patient with it, your body will tell you what's going to work for it.
It's so
That's important.
individualized.
Yeah,
Everybody's going to be different. Everybody experiences it differently.
right.
And that's one of the benefits, I think, of finding the right provider, the right healthcare provider for you. And in
Mhm.
my case, it was that combination of an RDN and then ultimately an MD who was trained and certified in menopause, NAMS certified. And that gave
That
me the
that's kind of
confidence.
rare. That's kind of rare
It
that
is.
yes, that they're going to be NAMS or
Yeah,
certified
that's
in
one of the
menopause.
things I love about Gennev is that all of our medical doctors are trained in menopause, and
Mhm.
our RDNs too, but that NAMS certification, that's the national menopause standard. They're doing research. That to me gave me the confidence that I needed to really lean in and trust
That's
my
so
my
good.
doctor. And
Mhm.
every woman's different and you find care in different ways, but knowing that it's okay, that you deserve to find the answer. I think
Yes.
you're probably in an interesting position in your work with your in coaching practice with your clients. What's coming up for them? What are some of the common symptoms and struggles that you see most often?
What I see most often is that as a wellness coach, women have really messed up their metabolism over time.
Mm,
right?
Interesting.
The fad diets, the detox, I'm only going to eat broccoli for 4 days, and, all the different diets that they've tried over their life. And by the time I see them at, 52 or late 50s, they're just like, just forget it. I can't lose a pound. And what I see is that women aren't eating enough. Their nutrition's off base, and so they're trying to dip to some calorie restriction that's just crazy. And that they don't get results because their metabolism is not where it needs to be. They're not eating enough calories so that their body's strong, where they feel good. And so for me, I think it's the big five. And I know we're probably running out of time, but for what I see with menopausal women, it's the big five. And one is they need good nutrition. They need good nutrition. They need, a good protein, plant-based, whole foods, all the different protein bars that you eat. A lot of times they have a lot of junk in them, right? Their gut health isn't good because they're not eating well. So they're good nutrition. They need to eat some good calories where they feel satiated, and just rice cakes all day don't do it for me. I mean, give me some grits and some.
Yeah. Who wants to eat rice cakes and broccoli all day?
So good nutrition. The second one is, resistance training or exercise. They need to have that in their life because with the decline of estrogen, we don't build muscle as well. We store fat more easily. So you do need to have your good exercise resistance training. Even if you just like to walk, it's something, right? I saw a statistic that if you walk for 20 minutes a day, that they showed that it was good it helped to fight against metabolic disease. That's 20 minutes a day.
Yeah,
so that is great. So good nutrition, resistance training, and exercise. Your sleep quality has to be good. If you're not getting your sleep, you're not getting your 7 to 8 hours, you feel like, oh, I can just do 4 hours, I'm good. You can't. Hardly anybody can really be their best on 4 hours or 5 hours of sleep. Even 6 hours of sleep, studies show that your cognition isn't as good. If you go 10 days and you only get 6 hours of sleep, they did this test that you score just as poorly as somebody who stayed up all night and took a test. So you think that, 6 hours, I'm good. You're not good. So your sleep, your stress is number 4.
Yeah.
Your cortisol, that is so important that you are spending time, breathing. Britt, you and I were breathing, deep breathing before we started. Great practice.
Yeah.
Twice a day, go and put your feet up on the wall, sit there.
I love that one.
Relax, take the stress, let that blood flow down. It's so important to decrease your stress. So that means kind of looking at your life. What are you dealing with that maybe you need to let go? And the last one is your managing your menopause symptoms, whatever that is for you, getting on a good plan with Gennev, finding a doctor that helps you manage those symptoms. Those 5. When I see women come to me, they're missing some of those 5. And then they want to diet, but they're not ready to diet. They really need to take care of those basic things. And then, and let's not concentrate on your weight. Let's concentrate on your health and, exercising and taking care of yourself and eating. Fat loss is a result of those things. It's not the goal. And the last thing I'll say is that, our wellness is a journey. It's not a destination. Because a lot of times a woman, she'll be like, oh, I hit my goal weight. Yes, I hit my goal weight. Woo-hoo. And then over time they hit that, okay, I can eat now because I hit my goal, but they haven't made lifestyle changes that they can sustain. So that's the thing that I see with menopausal women. The struggle is real, but you can be successful wherever you are in your journey.
Yeah, that's amazing. And that's so succinctly and well summarized, Diesta. I see that too in my friendships and in the women who come in, who I interact with. You mentioned this at the top of our conversation, and I think it's such a key thing that I wish I had known early, like age 40.
Mhm.
The idea that this is a beautiful time of change and it's going to get better. What on the going through menopause and now being post menopause, what is better for you? What about life are you just so thankful for? You want to just give it a hug?
That is a great question. I'm thankful. I'm more thankful for my body. And I guess the
Yeah.
reason I say that is because I'm thankful that I'm healthy. I'm thankful that, I went through that transition and I still feel strong. I still feel attractive. I still feel like I didn't let myself go, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes women just go through such a hard time in life, the aging parents, kids, at home, or empty nesters. And sometimes they just feel like their life is like, what about me? What about me and my life? And so I think that now, when you get into your late 50s, your early 60s, you start saying to yourself, I've probably lived more of my life than I have left.
Yeah. That's a big one.
So, you start thinking that, okay, I need to really make every day, something that not every day is going to be exciting, but trying to live your best life. That's why I call my business Vision Up Wellness, because menopause can be hard, midlife can be hard, the responsibilities. A lot of women are breadwinners now. We deal with a lot of things. And so it might be tough, but the best is yet to come. And so that's why I call my business Vision Up Wellness and not like a menopause wellness, because I want women to have that positive mindset about their future. So I really enjoy that. I have a healthy body, a healthy mind. I'm so glad. This might sound personal, but I'm so glad I don't have to buy pads and tampons
Oh, I
anymore.
know.
Thank
That
God.
is a beautiful thing. That is I was just thinking about that the other day. The cycle is over.
Oh, yes, and the physical sexual freedom that comes, the
Yeah.
intimacy that comes, is you don't have to worry about birth
Yeah.
control and those kind of things. That's a blessing. And I'm a believer. Having God in my life is just huge for me. It makes my life so much better. And the older and wiser I get, just the more thankful I am for life and for having an abundant life. So those are the things that I'm really excited about in my life and in my journey.
That's amazing. Well, Diesta, you are an incredible inspiration. I hope that the people watching this take away those 5 things that you
Yeah.
mentioned and incorporate some of what you've learned today into your life in whatever way that might show up. I want to also remind you all out there that at Gennev, we have a moderated group on Facebook. It's called Menopause Solutions by Gennev. And there are over 8,000 women and people with ovaries in
Mm.
that group who are helping each other, leaning in, supporting. We also have our doctors who weigh in. So it's a really great resource if you aren't in the area where Diesta does her coaching. And then, of course, Gennev. Have to give a shout out to Gennev because
Yeah,
we're doing the work. And
you are.
don't suffer. The cool thing about Gennev is that in less than a week, you can connect with a doctor, an MD, or an RDN who can give you some relief. So that's the one thing that I learned as I was going through it, is that you don't have to suffer. So check out Gennev.com, check out Diesta at Vision Up Wellness, and thank you all for joining. Thank you, Diesta. You're a gem.
Thank you, Britt. Such an honor to be here today. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.